A critical component in my workflow for producing sports images with impact is at the processing stage. So I thought it'd be useful just to take you quickly through a typical sports edit. And this is pretty typical actually, so all of my competition sports images would probably have had a similar degree of editing. So we're going to go from this original image that you see on the screen now, and we're eventually going to create this image. What attracted me to the original is the pose of the weightlifter, but in particular the bend of the bar. The bend of the bar, that's well over 18 stones he's lifting, 180 kilo, and the metal just can't take it. Funnily enough, actually, it only does it as he's just lifting off, so it is just a split second as the inertia kicks in. So I love the bend of the bar, I love his pose, but there's some critical things wrong with the image. There's far too much going on in the background, too much distraction. And also I'd got better images of his face, so I particularly liked his face in this image. So since reality never gets in the way of one of my competition images, providing there are no rules in the competition to bar it, then I will create the image that I want. So, in recap, we're going to go from here and we're going to go to here. So let's have a look at the Photoshop layer stack then, and this down the right hand side here, if you look, is the Photoshop layer stack. And I'm going to switch off all the layers, alt click on the bottom one, and there's the original. And I'm just going to quickly step you up the layers, and some will go really quickly. So the first thing I've done is drop a selection around the weightlifter. And I call this the master mask, and this will allow me to do a variety of things to the weightlifter independent to the background. So the first thing we're going to do, you can see, is recede background. So I need to drop down the brightness and the contrast and the saturation of the background. It's competing far too much, and I'll open up, if I do a particular thing, I group them just to keep them tidy, but you can see there's a number of steps in there. I'll open a few groups but not many. And the next one is to repair the floor, so I think it's this area here which is really drawing your eye. So you can see I've made that all black. Really, I've just cloned in the rest of the floor to take that distracting area away. Now here's the first big change. I'm putting new head on, so I've copied the head from this image here, and I brought it in, just a quick selection around it, and I brought it in and stuck it on his shoulders. And if you notice, I've also brought in with it the shoulder and arms, because it's very difficult to get those to match. Then I've worked on his hair. You can see because we brought in this new selection, there's, his hair's all to pieces. So I've just gentle cloning. If I open that up, you can see there's, there's 5-6 layers there, and none of the layers are doing anything different. They'll all be using the clone stamp tool, but what I do is put it on separate layers, so that if I screw up a layer, I can get rid of it easily. And I would urge you to do that. Work on lots of separate layers, because it's easy to get rid of one then. So that's hair. And then we work on his head, so look in the head area. And can you see, obviously, where we've brought it in, we've got to clone this bit out. And again, it'll just be multiple cloning layers here, you can see, just grouped together. And then look at the left bar, and you can see, again, because we brought in new arms and shoulders, we've got to do some work here. So we work on the left bar. And you'll see as we work up the layer stack, it's just like, it's just a process of getting the components in that you want to make the image that suits your artistic intention. And I want a weightlifter who's lifting something really heavy, the bar bending, but I need his face to match that, and that's what I've done. Now, I've not let reality get in the way. I brought in a face that, in my opinion, better matches the immense effort that there must be in lifting 180 kilo. And now if we look at the back, repair wall, so just a little bit there, look, and sometimes I do that. If I just spot something, I will do it just so I don't miss it. Left shoulder, pretty obvious what's going on there, look, left shoulder. New left bar, and so what I've done is I've thought that bend doesn't look right now, so I brought in bits and bobs to repair the left bar. And then I've done the same on the right bar. Watch here, by his hand, right bar. In fact, it was taking out the old fingers. Look, the little finger that was missing, that was there. Now I've got to start and work on his hand. This hand looks particularly awkward. So wrong hand, right hand. Right as we're looking at it. New right hand. I've cloned round the bottom, round the back of it. Left hand, same thing. You can see here there's an awkward bit of, that'll be where probably where a new arms come in. Not sure, but either way, I've repaired it. And gradually, I hope you can see that there's no real artistic skill here. What we're actually doing is mechanically repairing things that we've actually screwed up. So if I'd left the original image, none of this would be screwed up. But because I've messed about with the original image to suit what I want, now I've got to go around repairing things. Now his left body, so that's a little bit down here, look. Face, so the little bit around the back of his face, maybe I thought I need a bit of hair there, so I've cloned in some there. A little bit more work on his hair, so very imperceptible almost now. Right bar, so what have we done there? And I can't even, it's just a little bit up there, look. But get in the habit of labelling things, because you very quickly start to lose track of what these things are doing. So get in the habit of labelling them. And then just a general brightness contrast adjustment layer using the master mask that, I will have had to create a new mask, because of course the figure now is different to the one that we masked in the first place, because now we've put a new head on. But I've created a mask, and then I've done my very typical trick of using that mask so that I can work on the background and the foreground independently. And in this case, as you can see, all I've done is dull down the background. And this is all about me wanting to draw your eye where I want you to look, and quite clearly that's the weightlifter. So I'm receding the background, and now I'm really going to make the background go away, because I'm going to blur it. So watch the background, and I've applied Gaussian blur to it. And so I want it there because I think it's actually a very nice background, but I really don't want your eye drawn to it too much. And then a layer that a Photoshop adjustment layer I use a lot, which is called clarity. So watch the detail, particularly around his face, I suspect, when I switch it on and off. And I don't know whether the resolutions are going to be good enough. You'd certainly see it here around his eyes. That's a clarity adjustment layer. And then shine on bar. So where is that then? Shine on bar. Can't even see it. So face, I've done some more work on his face, and here you can see I've brightened up his eyes. We naturally are drawn to eyes. That's the first place we look. It's human nature, and I want his eyes to match the effort that I imagine he's putting in. So I've brightened them slightly so that you can't miss them. You mustn't go too far, obviously, but I think I've just about got it right there. But it's a matter for taste, of course. You might think I've gone too far. And then thin right bar. So again, I'm troubled by this whole bar. Look, the thickness of the bar there doesn't match the thickness there. So I've had to thin it down. It'll just be cloning, that's all. And then a black layer. I still don't think that the background is dark enough. So I've put a black layer on it, and I've masked it out where I don't want you to see it. So again, it's just all about darkening down the background. And now I apply a vignette. And a vignette I apply to 99% of all the photos I ever produce. Creates this black area around the edge, draws your eye into the middle. Brightness contrast, and so what I've done there, look, is I've brightened up the floor area here. New right bar. I'm still troubled by this bar, and you can see, and this very often happens. I do some changes, and I think I've cracked it. I maybe go away, have a cup of coffee, or even maybe come back the next day, and I think, no, you've not cracked it at all. That's not believable. And so here we've put a new right bar in. And then really moving up quickly, tidy the left bar, and general tidy. It becomes almost imperceptible. Tidy outline, can't even see it. New left hand. So there we are, look over at his left hand again, I'm not happy. So there's a pattern repeating here. I think I've cracked it, and then I go back to it and I think, nah, it's not good enough. And never settle. If there's something in your heart of hearts telling you it's not good enough, then don't settle, because if you can see it, then you can be sure that other people will see it if they look for long enough, and particularly judges. So dust is, they put it on the hands to stop the bar slipping. Sometimes you see it come off. I think it adds a lot of atmosphere. There was no dust, mustn't let reality get in the way, so I've copied some dust in. Dust on the right hand side now as well, you see some dust here. And of course if I put dust dropping off the bar, then I need to put some dust on the floor to make it really believable. So we had dust around the bottom, and it's all adding impact in my opinion. It's making the shot more dramatic. Dodge and burn his body, so look here, so it's just general dodge and burn. Tidy his neck, face highlights, so those shiny bits on his face, I need to get rid of those. Dull the background even further, so I go back, I go away, I come back. No, it's still not dull enough. Or maybe at this stage I've sent it to someone to look at and they've gone, no, you could do with dulling that down a bit. So I come back and I do it. Dodge and burn body more. Spotlight. So what I want to do, so now I've decided, this was a late edition, probably a week after I thought I'd finished the image. I decided that I wanted even more drama, so I've created an artificial spotlight. This is a snapshot, just so I think I could send the image to someone to get their opinion. Left bar end, I've took some shine off it. General tidy up, and then finish with a brightness contrast adjustment layer. I have a tendency to make things too dark, so I always put a layer on at the end and just see if I need to lighten it, and you can see I have lightened it slightly. So there you go, that's the finished image. Quite a lot of messing about. I suspect that whole process took about 4 to 5 hours, so it's not quick, and it would have taken place over probably over a week, I guess. The initial edit, I always sit down and do the initial edit in one session, and that probably would have been 3-4 hours, and then I'll maybe have a break from it, come back to it the next day. And then I always send it to at least one person, sometimes two, and get their opinion on it. So there we go, there's a typical workup, and this particular workup was a weightlifting image called the 180 kg lift. Thank you.